India has firmly rejected recent claims made by a senior aide to former United States President Donald Trump, who suggested that trade negotiations between the United States and India had completely broken down. The statement quickly attracted international media attention and raised concerns about potential tensions between two of the world's largest and most influential economies. According to Indian officials, the claim does not reflect the true state of discussions and risks creating unnecessary confusion among the public and global markets. They stress that trade negotiations are complex, ongoing processes that involve multiple stages, technical discussions, and long-term strategic considerations. In this video, we take a closer look at what the Trump aide actually said, how India responded, and why this issue matters far beyond a single political statement. We also explore what this dispute reveals about global trade diplomacy and the future of U.S.-India economic relations. The controversy began when a Trump aide publicly claimed that trade talks between the United States and India had stalled and effectively collapsed. According to the aide, ongoing disagreements over tariffs, market access, and trade protections made further negotiations extremely difficult. The statement was quickly picked up by several international media outlets, with some headlines suggesting a serious breakdown in relations between Washington and New Delhi. However, the claim was not supported by any official announcement from either government. Experts note that political statements often oversimplify complex negotiations and may not reflect what is actually happening behind closed doors. This raised immediate questions about the accuracy and motivation behind the claim. India reacted swiftly and firmly to the statement. Government officials rejected the claim, describing it as inaccurate and misleading. They emphasized that trade negotiations with the United States are still ongoing and involve detailed discussions across multiple sectors. Indian authorities also warned against using trade negotiations for political messaging, especially during sensitive political periods in other countries. Officials reiterated that India remains committed to constructive dialogue and mutual benefit. According to New Delhi, disagreements are normal in trade talks and do not mean negotiations have collapsed. The United States and India have maintained a long and evolving trade relationship. Bilateral trade between the two countries is worth hundreds of billions of dollars each year and covers a wide range of industries. These include technology, defense cooperation, pharmaceuticals, energy, and agriculture. While economic ties have strengthened over time, negotiations toward a comprehensive trade agreement have often faced delays. Differences in economic priorities, domestic regulations, and political pressures have repeatedly slowed progress. Despite these challenges, both countries continue to view each other as important economic partners. Tariffs remain one of the most difficult issues in U.S.-India trade negotiations. The United States has frequently criticized India for maintaining high import duties on certain goods. India, however, argues that tariffs are necessary to protect domestic industries, small businesses, and local employment. Indian officials say sudden tariff reductions could harm vulnerable sectors of the economy. This disagreement has existed for years and continues to complicate negotiations. Both sides acknowledge the challenge, but neither appears willing to make major concessions easily. Another major issue is market access. American companies are eager to expand their presence in India's massive consumer market, particularly in agriculture, medical devices, and digital services. India, however, remains cautious about opening sensitive sectors too quickly. Officials say protecting small businesses and strategic industries is a national priority. Balancing foreign investment with domestic protection remains one of the most complex aspects of the negotiations. This issue continues to require careful negotiation and compromise. Analysts suggest the Trump aide statement may have been influenced by domestic political considerations. Trade rhetoric often plays well with certain voter groups, especially during election seasons. Strong language can create the impression of toughness, even if negotiations continue behind the scenes. India, however, traditionally avoids public confrontations and prefers quiet diplomacy. This difference in communication style may explain why the comment caused friction. Experts caution against interpreting political remarks as official policy decisions. Beyond economics, India is a crucial strategic partner for the United States. The two countries cooperate on defense, technology development, supply chains, and regional security. This broader partnership strengthens ties even when trade disputes arise. Analysts argue that these strategic interests make a complete trade breakdown highly unlikely. Both governments understand the importance of maintaining a stable relationship. As a result, disagreements are usually managed through continued dialogue rather than confrontation. Trade experts point out that real trade breakdowns are typically announced through official government channels. Political comments alone rarely signal the end of negotiations. Experts say it is common for talks to slow down, pause, or restart multiple times before agreements are reached. Public disputes may reflect frustration, but not final outcomes. Most analysts believe U.S.-India trade talks will continue, even if progress remains gradual. Dialogue, they say, remains the only realistic path forward. India's response sends a clear message that trade negotiations with the United States are not broken. While challenges remain, both countries continue to see value in cooperation. Future progress will depend on patience, compromise, and diplomatic engagement rather than dramatic public statements. For now, discussions continue quietly behind the scenes. As global economic uncertainty grows, the importance of stable U.S.-India relations cannot be overstated. The story is ongoing, and the world is watching closely. While public statements have created the impression of rising tension, officials on both sides continue to emphasize the importance of long-term cooperation. Trade negotiations between major economies are rarely simple, and disagreements are a normal part of the process. India has made it clear that it values its economic partnership with the United States and remains open to constructive dialogue. At the same time, New Delhi insists that any agreement must respect its domestic priorities and development goals. For now, despite strong words and political messaging, diplomacy continues behind closed doors, reminding the world that headlines do not always tell the full story.